Friday Night Lights at Santa Teresa High School. Friday Night Lights at Santa Teresa High School. It's Blossom Valley Athletic League Mount Hamilton Division Football. Welcome everyone. Alongside David Kiefer, I'm Kirsten Fairchild. So glad to have you join us. Westmont Warriors bringing a 1-6 overall record, 0-4 in league play, taking on the Santa Teresa Saints, 0-7 overall, 0-4 in league play. Westmont won the toss, elected to defer. It'll be Santa Teresa, this very young team under their first-year head coach, Ajane Palmer, looking for a win at home on homecoming. Line drive gets past the return man, picked up at the 4 and brought out to the 17. It was Jason Taylor on the return. Dave, we're going to take a look at the Santa Teresa offense. We'll see the ball in the air a lot tonight in the spread offense. And our first look at the first-year senior starter, Jordan Cortez, the 5'10" captain of this offense. He wears number 2.
Yeah, and I think they have some exciting players on offense, and I think primarily the number one guy they're going to look to is Ethan Jonto, and he's a team captain. He's a returning all-league player. He's starting at wide receiver, but he does just about everything for this Santa Teresa team.
4 receivers. Cortez quickly off the left side, caught in stride for a big gain and into Westmont territory. So looking good at home, and the catch made by the 6-foot senior Nick Sousa.
Well, that's making a statement on the very first play from scrimmage, and it shows that Santa Teresa's out for business. And look, hurry up offense. They play a spread, no huddle, and they're going to be going for it all the way, because this is a team that plays very aggressively, and we'll talk about it later on. You won't see any punts from these guys. They play to win. 33-yard
catch and run. The inside handoff results in maybe a pickup of 1. And as this game goes on, of course, we'll talk more about the first-year head coach, Ajane Palmer. But you heard from David, they do not punt. This team does not punt. More on that later, as Santa Teresa and Westmont, both of these programs in rebuilding years.
Yeah, I mean, they've had some good seasons in recent years. They've both been to the playoffs within the last, I'll say, 3 years. But it's just one of those years you play in the tough division. The Mount Hamilton's the toughest division in San Jose Public Schools. So, you know, sometimes if you have a young team, you're going to take your lumps.
And here comes the pressure, and it's a sack. Westmont, Blake Rubio Nolte, the 6'7", 210-pound senior defensive end, makes the first big defensive play.
And for Westmont, I think it's important to get a quick start, maybe shut down Santa Teresa in the first couple drives, because they've been giving up a lot of points. They're averaging about 45 points given up per game in league play. So I think Westmont really needs to get some confidence, and maybe a couple early shutout drives, which will really help their confidence.
Loss of 6 on the play. Cortez, here comes the pressure again, dumps off the screen pass, and then it is a missed tackle. Looked like it was going to be a tackle for a loss. Instead, a positive yardage gained, as it'll be 4th and long for Santa Teresa.
And like we said, this would be a perfect, well, I mean, they do have the ball around the 50-yard line, so you can't, you know, it's not like they're back at the 20 or something like that, but 4th and about 13 or 14 yards and no punter in sight.
3 up top for Cortez. Looking towards the far sideline again. Caught in stride, penalty marker thrown. That seems to be Cortez's favorite spot to throw the ball, but we'll see after it's all sorted out. Our referee tonight, Angelo Yeldell.
And that looked like that was their all-everything guy making the catch there, Jonto. And they really liked that left. Oh, it was a face mask call, so additional yardage at the end of the catch.
Santa Teresa with a big play and results in a fresh set of downs. So tacked on at the end of the play. And the Saints back in business.
That's a 42-yard pickup with the penalty on a 4th and 14.
Cortez under center. Man in motion and the handoff. Sweep around the left side. And the best run on this very young game thus far for Santa Teresa.
Yeah, Chase Arndt, he's one of the team captains. Only 5'6", but he found room all the way to about the 3-yard line.
Second and goal.
Excuse me, about the 5, sorry about that.
Second and goal from the 5. Santa Teresa. Touchdown, Saints!
And that was Art once again, proving to be very elusive. You know, it's a spread offense. The team, the Saints like to throw the ball, obviously, but they can cross the team up with the run. And so Westmont, that's tough to give up a touchdown when you had them at 4th and long at midfield.
Going for 2. And the quarterback's going to be stopped shy. So 6-0, 8:35 remaining in the first quarter. And Santa Teresa on homecoming night goes up by a touchdown.
Yeah, that's, you know, we aren't going to see too many extra points either. So not a lot of emphasis on the kicking game for Santa Teresa. No question that they would go for 2. That's just the way their style, and Coach Ajani Palmer likes to do it. But once again, like for Westmont, it's kind of a tough one, having to give up a touchdown after really having Santa Teresa on the ropes on that 4th and long. But again, the percentages seem to play out for Coach Palmer with that 4th down try.
Souza will kick it away. And it bounces, picked up at the 8. The Warriors out across the 25, and the whistles blow. So the Westmont Warriors, 1-6 overall, 0-4 in league play. Last year, Westmont 7-4 overall, 4-3 to finish in 4th place in the Mount Hamilton division. Talk about a rebuilding year. As this game goes on, we'll talk about some of the pieces that graduated for head coach Mark Ka'anapu and these Westmont Warriors. But it seems like every year Westmont finds a way to come alive at the end of the season. We'll see the West Coast spread offense from the Warriors. Man in motion. That's a great defensive play. Talk about a good jump off the ball, and it's a tackle for the loss.
Yeah, that was Michael Saczynski with the tackle for loss. And you know, you mentioned Westmont. Last year was their first year in the Mount Hamilton division after years in the Santa Teresa, which is the B League. They went 11-2 in 2016, made it to the Division IV CCS championship game before losing to Soledad, and moved up to the Mount Hamilton and had a really strong year in the Mount Hamilton with that 4th place finish. But lost some really outstanding players to graduation, with number 1 being the quarterback Cameron Rotler, who was the most outstanding offensive player of the year in the Mount Hamilton division.
Chance Grant on that previous carry, and the 5'11", 155-pound senior quarterback this year is Gabriel Pulliam. As Westmont has to burn a timeout early, we'll keep it right here on CreaTV Sports. Again, it's alongside David Kiefer. I'm Kirsten Fairchild. Just a little bit more about how much Westmont graduated last year. The Rottler twins, 3-year starters for Westmont, and as David just mentioned, the quarterback Cameron Rottler, the offensive player of the year. His twin brother Troy, the receiver of the year in the Mount Hamilton division, but it just wasn't what they did on offense. Cameron Rottler has been this team's kicker for the last 3 years. Listen to these stats from last year. Out of 37 kickoffs, Dave, 32 were touchbacks. That's not something you always see in the high school game. He went 30 for 35 on PATs, 5 of 7 of field goals. The long was 41. Troy, meanwhile, was the punter, averaging 39 yards per punt. Between those two, they played 4 vital positions. Troy Rottler, also a standout on defense, led the team with 10.5 tackles per game. We'll talk a little bit more after this play as Pulliam making a little bit of something out of nothing. Troy Rottler down at University of San Diego, and Cameron Rottler keeping it fairly local. He's an Owl over at Foothill College.
Yeah, those are some big-time numbers from a couple great athletes. And Cameron was, I don't know if Troy was, but Cameron was definitely in the Charlie Wiedemeyer All-Star game as well.
Playing for his head coach, Mark Napu. As you see Pulliam, both of the quarterbacks tonight, first-year starters at seniors. It's 3rd and 9 for Westmont, trailing 6-0, 7 minutes remaining in the first quarter. And it looked like Pulliam was looking to throw. Instead, he had to put it on his hip, and it'll be 4th down for the Warriors.
And that was Jacob Miller with the tackle. It's a second-team All-League linebacker last year in the Mount Hamilton division.
Yeah, along with, I think you mentioned Janko, the 2 top returners for the Santa Teresa team.
Look like a holding call. Are they going to decline?
Referee looking over to the Santa Teresa sideline. Waiting for head coach Palmer. Gives us a chance to introduce our officiating crew. As previously introduced, Angelo Yeldell, who signals holding against Westmont, and that is declined. Our umpire tonight is Robert McDonald. The head linesman, Wayne Heel. Ryan High is the line judge. And the back judge is Amos Lee. On 4th down, out comes the punt team for Westmont.
Again, this is the only time we'll see a punt team out here. Is when 4th down situations for Westmont.
And the line drive caught at the 35. Room to run into Westmont territory. The ball comes loose. It looks like it was covered up by Santa Teresa. And Santa Teresa holds on to it. We've got a number 11 covering it up. Unfortunately, I don't have a number 11 on my roster. How about you, David?
No, it's not on mine either. But that was pretty clutch because a nice run back, gave him a huge field position, and at least the Saints will have a chance to take advantage of it.
1st and 10 from the Westmont 44. Inside handoff. Good hole to run through. Pick up of 5 for David Bermudez, the 5'5" junior running back.
I believe Bermudez was the one who returned that kick, the punt a moment ago.
Check that 4-yard gain for Bermudez. This time, Bermudez off the left side. 1st down yardage and more. So we saw some good success with the ball in the air on the first drive. This time the Saints keep it on the ground, and it's a fresh set of downs for David Bermudez and company.
And it's impressive that Santa Teresa is able to move the ball so well either way. I mean, they seem to be equally effective against this Westmont defense.
Now looking to throw. This time near sideline. That's underthrown. Good defensive play by Westmont's Michael DeRobertis, the 5'9", 195-pound junior defensive back.
Yeah, and he was looking for Jonto on that play, who made a big catch along the sideline on that first drive.
Good camera work by our on-field camera. 6:22 remaining in the first quarter. Santa Teresa Saints playing downhill, up 6-0. Cortez. Man coverage by Westmont. And that underthrown just out of the grasp of the H-back, the 5'9" senior Isaac Solorio.
Nice velocity on that throw, though.
Yeah, he had some zip on it.
You know, Santa Teresa coach Ajane Palmer, you know, we were talking to him before the game, and he was really excited about this team. You know, they haven't won yet, but he says he's just having a blast, that they're having fun, and, you know, it just seems like they haven't lost any players, you know, as far as, you know, maybe being upset about the team's record or whatever. He says that this team is really excited about playing football and playing tonight. Inside
handoff. Bermudez stopped after picking up a couple. Andrew Terrell, the 5'9", 185-pound senior DB, in on the tackle.
Yeah, and Jared Pestana also for Westmont was in there as well, defensive lineman.
4th and 7 for the Saints. Ball on the 26-yard line. And that, I think, is going to be encroachment. We'll see if anyone flinched on the line.
Yeah, it looks like the left tackle for Santa Teresa jumped. Carlos Padilla. It's a very similar situation with a 4th and 13 situation, very similar to the previous drive when they converted for a long gain.
And I believe the delay, I think they're going to have to put some more time on the clock. The clock kept running. After the false start call.
You know, Santa Teresa hasn't won a game yet, but last week they took Lincoln, which is tied for first in the Mount Hamilton division, into a tiebreaker. And I think for a team that hasn't won a game to take a team that's undefeated in league play into a tie-breaking situation before Lincoln won 19-13, I think that says a lot about where Santa Teresa is right now as far as their mentality and, you know, just being ready to play and being, you know, eager to not, you know, to basically not be discouraged despite some of the struggles they've had.
So 7 seconds put back on the clock, 5:30 and counting on 4th down, and that is through the hands of the intended receiver, Joseph Robledo, the tight end. So the Saints turn it over on downs, 5:26 remaining in the first quarter. Westmont gets the ball back at its own 31.
Yeah, Jordan Cortez walked to the sidelines and kind of pointed to his chest like, that was my fault on that play. Telling his teammates that was on me.
Here comes the Westmont offense, and both of our first-year starters at senior quarterbacks tonight, both wearing number 2. And here is Gabriel Pulliam. Pulliam, maybe a miscommunication with his running back, turned to his right as his running back ran to his left, and that is a big loss for Santa Teresa. And Pulliam looks like he's walking a little gingerly.
Yeah, Michael DeRobertis looked like he put his hands on his head after the end of that play, like you know, that was obviously a big mistake by one of the two. Miscommunication there on that handoff play.
Second and 19.
Wow, a big knockdown there by Joseph Robledo. Nearly picked it off. Had a chance for a defensive touchdown.
Third and Snell Avenue for the Westmont Warriors. This game being played at Santa Teresa High School. And keeping it on the ground, Pulliam calls his own number. No, that's just a great fake. Half the defense bit for Pulliam and the other half with the ball carrier, and it'll be 4th and long. So another 3 and out for Westmont.
And Bermudez lines up. Either way, this is going to be great field position again for Santa Teresa. Bermudez is lining up about his own 35-yard line.
Saints will get the ball back with 4 minutes remaining in the first. Taken at the 41. Across the 40. Zigging back. Here comes a penalty flag. Talk about some east-west, north-south running by the junior Giovanni Aguirre.
Wow, that was a highlight reel right there. Unfortunately, I think it's going to go backwards. Block in the back.
So the Saints will back it up with very entertaining return by the 5'8", 145-pound junior Aguirre. So it'll take him, push him back into Santa Teresa territory. 3:42 remaining in the first quarter. Santa Teresa scoring on its opening drive thanks to a big penalty tacked on after a big play that really put Westmont back on their heels just when it was thinking they were going to get the ball.
Yeah, Westmont's come up big both series.
And a fumble. So problems with the exchange between the quarterback and the running back. And Westmont catches a break. The Warriors will take over with their best field position after the night as the Saints turn it over.
And that was Timothy Galvan with the recovery. And that's the type of break Westmont needs really to get just ignited a little bit and maybe spark some offensive production here.
Pulliam with another opportunity here. He is the starting quarterback for Westmont. 1st and 10 from the Warriors 48. Inside handoff. And that Saints defense really doing a good job defending the run thus far, David.
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting any penetration at all, the Westmont offensive line. Instead, they're getting Santa Teresa just blowing right through and making contact in the backfield.
Another tackle for the loss. It'll be 2nd and 13 for Westmont as Chance Grant, the 5'6", 145-pound sophomore, still looking for positive yardage here on the ground for the Warriors.
Say Carlos Padilla was the first man to make the tackle in that last play.
Twin receiving set as Grant in motion. Grant looking to sweep around the right side. Nope, quarterback kept it.
And Padilla again on the tackle.
So right now this Westmont offense is stymied. Westmont with 1 win on the season. Santa Teresa looking for its first. That said, David, both of these teams have shown they can score points. When you look at their schedule, especially for Santa Teresa, I believe 3 of those losses came with 7 points or less. 7 points or fewer, pardon me. Westmont able to score touchdowns as well.
Yeah, I think Santa Teresa's record is a little bit deceiving because it looks like they've been in every game.
3 receivers up top for Pulliam. Pulliam rolls to, new quarterback for Westmont. And we don't have a number 3 on our roster. Aiden Moore with the catch. And it'll be 4th and 10 as we near the 90-second mark here in the first quarter. Moore stays on to punt. As Aguirre back at his own 10. Low punt. Takes a bit of a Westmont roll. And downed at the 27. Santa Teresa has 1:03 remaining in the first quarter, up 6-0 on Westmont.
I would think that right now the Westmont defense probably has got to feel pretty good about how they've played so far. Even though Santa Teresa scored on the first drive, they were faced with a 4th and 14 play that they somehow converted. But Westmont has done a really good job of forcing a turnover, really kind of holding Santa Teresa kind of at bay, other than maybe a big play or two. So I would think that, Westmont, a team that's giving up 45 points a game in league play, has got to be feeling pretty good about its play so far.
Twin receiving set for Cortez. Cortez with time. Hooks up with Solorio. Solorio fighting hard for extra yardage. And gain of 8 on the play. Boy, Jordan Cortez, his first year starting at quarterback. How much fun must he be having? He's got a brand new head coach who loves to throw the ball. Was a great quarterback in his own right. More on that later. And also they never punt. So kind of fun to come into this, and that looked like a masterful throw by Cortez.
First down instead of 3.
I would agree, and that is a big tackle by a big man, the 5'11", 210-pound senior defensive end, Jared Pestana, again making a play.
When we talk about the fact that Santa Teresa never punts, Coach Palmer asked his kids before the season started, do you care if we want to go for 4th downs every time? And they all unanimously voted yes.
12 minutes have been played, and it's the home team on homecoming night. The Santa Teresa Saints 6, the Westmont Warriors 0.
This show sucks.
What the? Don't like this program? Did you know you could create your own?
Really?
Yeah.
What the?
First, there are a few things you need to know about copyright. Copyright is any intellectual property that is protected by law, such as literature, movies, music, and more. If you want to use intellectual property, you must get permission from the owner.
But what if we can't get permission?
Legally, you can't use it because you would be at risk of content removal and lawsuits. However, copyright fosters new and innovative ideas.
If I want to produce content, but I can't get permission for intellectual property?
We can use our own creativity.
Copyright! Just remember, copyright is all around us, which means I must be going.
Cool. Now I want to make my own video.
Blossom Valley Athletic League Mount Hamilton Division play. 2 0-4 teams squaring off. It's 3rd and 3rd for the Santa Teresa Saints. Passes caught, first down yardage, and he's off. At the 40, the 30, the 20, 10, and dropped shy. I think he thought the 5-yard line was the end zone, or at least he was going to Superman launch. But you love the extension. That's a lot of fight in Santa Teresa with its second biggest play of the night.
That was Nick Souza making the big play and being very elusive there on the sideline, setting up a great situation here at the 6-yard line.
Missed tackles by Westmont, and I love this. Look at this. Knew he was going down, stretched forward for more. 1st and goal from the 6 for Santa Teresa. 4 receivers for Cortez. Cortez flush from the pocket. Still looking for a receiver. And sidearms it in. Touchdown, wow. Santa Teresa.
That looked like Jonto there with the catch for the touchdown.
Mr. Utility Player Ethan Jonto, the senior, with the 6-yard touchdown reception.
Well, that was just a quarterback making a play when there didn't look to be much open.
Jonto stays on as the long snapper as Sousa sends it through. 11:34 remaining in the first half. It's a 13-0 Santa Teresa lead at home on homecoming night. David, Santa Teresa, at times their offense has looked rather anemic, but they've been able to set themselves up for the score off of a big play tonight.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of it has to do with just these playmakers that they have at quarterback and receiver. I mean, they all seem to be very athletic, looking to make things happen, ability to break tackles. So it's very interesting to see kind of the spread offense work for Santa Teresa. But, yeah, that was a nice 2-play sequence there for Santa Teresa that began with that 59-yard pass play to Souza and then the 6-yard touchdown pass to Jonto.
Souza has it teed up. Taken at the 16. Room to run. Westmont putting together a fantastic return. Still waiting for a whistle. Looked like he might have stepped out of bounds just shy of midfield. And that is Grant, the sophomore, once again, this time on the return.
Right, and George Palacios pushed him out of bounds at the 48-yard line.
Warriors really looking to get something going here on offense.
And that is Polian back at quarterback.
Looks like Gallegos in the backfield. 3 receivers split left. Pardon me, this is Darobertus, and he's tackled for a loss. And I think number 61 for Santa Teresa, giving the universal sign of eating. He's dining, the Ricardo Espinosa, the 6-foot senior defensive tackle.
Yeah, and we get a glimpse there of Stephen Vitek with the long hair.
We have a story about the hair.
We do. He's never had a haircut in his entire life.
Head coach said when he first met Vitek, he had his hair up in a bun. And Grant just met smartly in the backfield as Santa Teresa's defense.
Yeah, Michael Stachinski with the big hit, forcing a 3rd and long. I don't know how many negative plays there's been for Westmont so far this game, but it's got to be maybe at least half, maybe more.
You know, that said, Westmont has also kind of punished Santa Teresa's run game pretty consistently with tackles for no gain or less. It's just been the difference as Santa Teresa has been able to come up with a couple of big plays. 3rd and 15 for the Warriors. Pulliam Grant with the block, and then Pulliam gets wrapped up as the scrum shoves him down. 4th and long once again as out comes the punt team.
Yeah, Pulliam so far looks like their biggest offensive threat, but he doesn't seem to be really fooling the Santa Teresa defense. There's just too many guys that are, I think, keeping an eye on him, and I don't think he's going to get too far before somebody gets a hand on him.
Giovanni Aguirre shuffles back once again, waiting the punt at his 15. And we've got movement before the snap.
Yeah, Westmont flinched on the line.
Westmont's got some height on its line, yet not a lot of breadth.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to go through their roster. I don't think we have the numbers, but not a lot of 200-pound guys on the roster. They have a few, but you don't see the big, like you said, the girth. I think you see some big slender guys, but not a lot of bulk.
Moore. It's blocked. Picked up by Vitek. Vitek into the end zone, and it's a special teams play by the Saints. Touchdown.
Vitek, boy, the punter was swarmed. I'm not sure who got the block. We'll have to look and see the replay, but Vitek very opportunistic, picking up the ball around the 30 and carrying it in for the score. Here's the punt, very short. He lined up very close to the line of scrimmage, and it really never had a chance. He tends to kick low anyway, and it looked like he just kicked it in the chest of one of the defensive players.
Sousa on for the extra point. Sousa, plenty of leg. 20 to nothing.
Let's see, yeah, it would be 20
to nothing. Our scoreboard is correcting itself. 8:58 remaining in the first half. And CreaTV Sports, as well as Santa Teresa High School, would like to thank the City of San Jose Council member Sergio Jimenez for helping bring you this broadcast. Santa Teresa High School is located in Councilmember Jimenez's district. That's District 2 of the City of San Jose. Thank you so very much, Councilmember Jimenez, for your support of high school athletics. Kirsten Fairchild's David Kiefer, first half action, and it was a special teams play as Stephen Vitek picks up the blocked punt and scampers 30 yards for the score. We have playoff beards. Maybe we're going to have the Vitek no haircut, the Vitek haircut after that play, and the squib kick trickles out of bounds at the 31.
Yeah, Santa Teresa, the most points that the Saints have scored in one game all year is 22, and they've got 20 right now, barely into the second quarter. That 22 was in a 46-22 loss to Piedmont Hills, which I think is their largest defeat this year, or close to it.
You mentioned Santa Teresa coming off that, as you put it, tiebreaker loss. That's how Coach said it. I still say OT. So a double OT loss last week. And as you mentioned, Lincoln tied atop the standings with Oak Grove.
Yeah, this is, well, Lincoln, that's pretty remarkable territory for them. I don't know if Lincoln has ever won a Mount Hamilton division, and of course they wouldn't go to the playoffs because they play in the Big Bone Game rivalry, the oldest Thanksgiving Day rivalry west of the Mississippi.
Big Bone.
That's right. So it'll be interesting to see how the Mount Hamilton division plays out this year. Lincoln's got Live Oak tonight.
Currently Pioneer, Santa Teresa, and Westmont 0-4. One of those teams will get out of the cellar tonight. That's a great return for Westmont. And that is a huge hit right at midfield. We've got some pushing and shoving.
Wow, that was a big hit by James Carlson. I mean,
It was Caden Hamilton with the return.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a perfectly
knock the
legal
cobwebs
hit.
out.
I think it's just because it was so close to the sidelines. It was a big hit. But I don't think there's anything. Mouthpiece goes flying.
So the ball spotted just shy of midfield. 8:51 remaining in the first half. Westmont, for the most part, has had good field position tonight. However, they have not been able to figure out how to advance positively on the Santa Teresa defense. Grant in motion. Pulliam looking to throw, and the pocket collapses, and so does he.
Michael Stachinsky again in on the tackle. Pulliam with the left-handed throwing motion, but wasn't able to get that off.
Second and 15 for the Warriors.
Like Ricardo Espinosa might have been the man on the tackle on that play.
We haven't really been able to assess the arm strength or accuracy of Pulliam. It's not been given enough protection. Another problem between the exchange. Loose ball rumbled around for a while. Looks like Westmont was able to cover it up.
Yeah, just again, it's Pulliam tried to pull it back. He has the option, I guess, of pulling it back or handing off, and just left it out a little bit too long and tried to pull it back a little bit too late, and just enabled the ball to get on the ground there.
3rd and 17 from its own 43. Pulliam out of the shotgun, rolling to his right. Pulliam once again puts it on his hip, and I think this D line has really gotten in Pulliam's head.
Yeah, they had 3 receivers out, I believe, on that play, and he didn't think any of them were open, so some pretty good coverage by the Saints.
In his first year at starter, see him rolling.
Rolling to his right as a left-hander makes it a little bit more difficult as well, having to turn his body all the way around.
Geary with the tackle. Another opportunity for the punter. And boy, that just sneaks through. And downed at the 30. 6:24 remaining in the first half. And Santa Teresa with a 20-0 lead. All right, time to talk a little bit about Ajane Palmer in his first year at head coach for the Santa Teresa Saints, taking over for the stalwart coach, Nick Alfano, who has been with this program for more than 10 years. Palmer most recently the offensive coordinator over at Lynbrook. And we'll talk about him as a coach and as a player as this game goes on. 1st and 10 for the Saints from their 30. And a different formation results in the Saints calling a timeout. I think they didn't have enough men on the field.
That's possible.
Yes, it looks like Santa Teresa a little late to check in was Palacios.
Looked like Jonto was going to be taking the snap on that play, and he has played quarterback in the past. Again, you know, he was a utility guy is what they put him on the all-league team last year. He was a most outstanding utility player in the Mount Hamilton division last year. He lined up at quarterback, receiver, and punter, and of course we know he's a snapper, long snapper as well.
One of the players, one of the top returners we expected for Westmont was the running back, Jalen Bright. He is not listed on our roster.
Yeah, I
Ask
did
you're a sophomore,
Yeah, I did
second team all-league sophomore.
I don't know if this is the same guy, but I did a search for his name, and there's a junior running back by the same name who's playing at a high school in Sammamish, Washington. So it could be the same player, I'm not sure.
And then also the lineman, Raimundo Santibanez, was second team as a junior last year, also not on the roster, and that pass
And that was Jonto in that
falls to the ground.
in that shotgun formation.
Second and 10 for the Saints.
Jonto's got good size. They list him at 6'4", 190. He definitely looks like the tallest player on the field. And he's going to take the snap again. And look, they have the kind of the diamond formation out there. And another player out wide.
Jonto rolling to his right. Looks like this is a designated run play as he lowers his shoulder, and it's a fresh set of downs from Jonto. What a different look he brings to this offense.
Yeah, he's just so big and athletic, and I could see on a play like that, running downhill, he could really do some damage.
He must have stepped out just shy of the first down marker.
I guarantee if they don't make it on this play, they're going to go for it on fourth down. 2 down territory.
You're feeling pretty confident with that. 3rd and 1 for Santa Teresa. New quarterback is the returning all-utility player of the Mount Hamilton division from last year. This time cutting back inside and running over a couple of defenders out to the 45-yard line. First down, Santa Teresa.
Well, it's interesting to have him as a running threat because the other players that do carry the ball are fairly small, 5'8" or so, 5'6", 5'8". So he definitely brings a different dimension when he does carry the ball than the other backs do.
Again, that diamond formation. Jonto on the screen pass. Picked off. Westmont making a play. He's at the 15, the 10. Touchdown Warriors. The pick 6 for the team from Campbell.
That was Osman Sase with the pickoff at about the 41-yard line, and that gives the Warriors some hope.
Just a great jump on the ball, a great read by Westmont. Finally, a play made, and every defender loves a pick 6.
Wow, and I think you got a quarterback who's not the normal quarterback, who's throwing wide, and sometimes those kind of plays can be dangerous.
Out of the Moore hole, and it's blocked. So the kick from Larson Bet-Varden. No good. 5:40 remaining in the first half. And Westmont on the scoreboard after the big defensive play. Let's take another look. That's just a great read by Osman Sase, the sophomore.
Yeah, it looks like it was just like a 50-50 ball almost, like you see in soccer, but it was the Westmont linebacker that ended up winning that battle.
Sase stats Starting outside linebacker, 6 feet tall, 176 pounds, and a sophomore. Not only is the future look bright, the present looks pretty good for Osman Sase.
What a boost for Westmont when really not a lot of things have been going right. But I think it was maybe Santa Teresa going to the well once too often. I think with that same formation, I know they did different things with it.
They really did, yes.
But it just seemed like, and maybe that led to some anticipation by the Westmont defense.
This is the kicker, Larson Betvarda, the 5'11", 170-pound senior. Caught at the 9. And the return, room to run, and then dragged down across the 30. As Santa Teresa, it'll be Jonko returning at QB.
And yeah, the player returning that kickoff was Jared Vasquez.
Santa Teresa, a lot of injuries to key players. Elias Dono, the lineman with an ACL tear. Alexander Bennett, who started at center, dislocated his thumb. 3 minutes into the game at week 3, played the whole game without telling anyone. Came to practice on Monday with a cast. He was done. But perhaps the biggest injury to the starting running back, the senior Gabriel San Augustine. And that screen pass too low for Vitek, who is getting a chance to play some offense.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good rush by Andrew Teruel, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But it looked like he really anticipated the snap count and was able to really burst through the line before they even really knew he was there.
Santa Teresa calls its second timeout. 5:30 remaining in the first half. You're watching CreaTV sports coverage of Blossom Valley Athletic League Mount Hamilton Division Play football. Two teams still looking for their first league win. Santa Teresa will celebrate homecoming, so we'll have an extended halftime. Thank you so much for joining us on CreaTV Sports. Alongside David Kiefer, I'm Kirsten Fairchills. Always so fun to come to Santa Teresa High School. We've been here volleyball, basketball, football. They used to play their football on Saturday afternoons, but for a few years now, they've got the lights, and it's Friday Night Lights right off of Snell Avenue.
Yeah, it's I think one of the things that's fun about watching the Saturday afternoon games is the beautiful hills just, right beyond the field and a couple blocks away. I mean, it's just a beautiful setting for the school and for the campus and for the field. So I didn't mind the Saturday afternoon games, although it will get a little warm there down here.
It's a warm evening tonight. I think it was still in the 80s when this game started, or at least warm up. Just a beautiful evening here in the San Jose area. And yes, always fun for Saturday afternoon games here, but I know everyone's really happy they get to play under the lights on Friday night. And we've got flags before the snap.
Yeah, Vitek took a couple steps.
And just coming out of a Santa Teresa timeout. Coach Palmer, I'm sure, not happy. Second and 15 for the Saints. Twin receiving. Jonto steps up in the pocket. No, he's caught the ball. How did he do that? He's such a utility player. He can play QB and receiver. So let's see who we've got at quarterback.
Cortez, I believe, is back there again. After the interception, I think Cortez was the quarterback of choice.
Gotcha. Jonto, our rosters just go on and on for him. Punter, long snapper, so it would make sense he'd be QB and wide receiver. Cortez sending his receivers, floats one wide open, caught by Sousa. Sousa on to The races, touchdown. Thought we might have had a block in the back call, but no penalty. And it's another big play by the Santa Teresa Saints.
And again, that was Cortez just making something happen. It looked like the play kind of broke down. He was improvising. I mean, he just happens to have some really great receivers that know how to get open, and Souza just kind of found a gap and rumbled for a 54-yard touchdown pass play.
54 yards from Cortez to Sousa, and Sousa will stay on and try to come through with 7 points for himself. That looked like it was partially deflected, and it's not long enough, so the extra point is missed. 26-6, Santa Teresa leads at home. First half action of Mount Hamilton division play.
And officially now that is the most points for a Santa Teresa team this year. And you know, another thing about Santa Teresa, not to harp on their losers, they have lost 9 in a row going back to last season, but they haven't won a home league game in 2 years. This would be almost exactly 2 years ago when they last won a home game.
As the cheerleaders start singing, the Saints come marching in. The Santa Teresa Saints playing well at home.
And you know, great block.
Might not have been the target that he was looking for, but he happened to be
Right place, right time?
right place, right time. And the other receiver, who I couldn't see, ended up making a key block that really released him for the score. Souza with his second. No, he also had that 59-yard pass play that set up Santa Teresa's second touchdown.
Nick Souza, the 6-foot senior, wide receiver, DB, kicker, and he'll kick it away. Caught at the 15 in stride. And we see Caden Hamilton once again as he rumbles out to the 32. Hamilton's been, that's the second time he's really had to catch the ball in stride and
yeah,
able
I mean,
to.
we talked about they've had good field position. Westmont seems to be doing well on their kick returns. It's just the execution on offense is just not there.
Coach Mark Kanaapu, excuse me, really has a great career, great coaching career, was at Merced College for a while, has coached at a number of different levels of this game. Westmont certainly has enjoyed success through him with the years, as you mentioned, David, just a few years ago in that CCS championship game. A lot of great athletes have come out of Westmont, located in Campbell, California.
And do you know their school motto?
It's a very good one. Would you share it with us?
It's a great day to be a warrior.
We'll see if Pulliam can engineer a scoring drive. 6 points came on the pick six, and we've got holding tacked on at the end of the return, I can only assume, since we have not even snapped the ball. So interesting, look, very delayed call.
Yeah, I didn't even see a flag, but I guess.
No. And Coach Kanaapu is out at the numbers on his side, well out on the field. I'm not even sure if our officials even see him. I think he wants an explanation here.
Yeah, I don't know what's taking so long. Interesting that this call has kind of delayed the game for a minute or two. So
our officials huddled up. I still don't think they see Mark Kanaapu, who wants an explanation. And back they go once again, Westmont.
Coach with his hands on his hips. You know, Westmont, a Campbell campus. Can I provide you with some more trivia about Westmont?
Yes, you may.
That part of the campus sits on the site of an 1839 Alta, California land grant.
Wait, what?
Yes.
History here.
I'm wondering what coach, pardon me, David, to interrupt, but Coach Ka'anapu, I wonder what he's pointing at.
I was wondering if it was the clock, but I don't think that's it. He was pointing.
Get another shot of him, Coach Ka'anapu.
He seems to be pointing toward.
The Santa Teresa sideline, isn't he?
Yeah, it's that way. And now he's shaking his head and walking off. Yeah.
So the Westmont coaching staff doesn't look pleased. I think maybe he was saying he was pointing where
The
the end of the return was.
or possibly where the infraction might have come from, because if it was that far upfield, then the ball maybe wouldn't have been placed that far back.
Right now it's placed at the 24.
All right, either way, looks like they're finally going to begin to start this possession.
I don't know if we'll see any more from our referee. Nope. Regardless, it will be a mystery to us. 1st and 10 for Westmont. Grant in motion. Pulliam puts it on his hip. Designated play. And the ball comes loose.
But it looked like it came loose after he hit the ground. That's what the officials are saying as well.
Second and 6 after the quarterback keeper. Bit of a lull to this game.
I think the Westmont offense really needs to do something to get its, excitement back. I mean, it's got to be tough kind of coming on the field every time and having a 3 and out.
Pulliam again. It looks like a designated play for him. Maybe a pair on the carry.
Jacob Miller, the all-leaguer, with the tackle. And Pulliam comes up limping a bit. But now looks like he's jogging it off okay.
Miller, one of the top returners. Turning second team linebacker out of the linebacker position for Santa Teresa.
I think he has the option of handing off or keeping the ball, and he's keeping the ball most of the time. I think the Santa Teresa defense is pretty much keyed on him, maybe almost daring him to do something different with the ball.
I formation. Grant dotting the I. More in motion. Here's Grant. No, Pulliam. Play action, and that nearly picked off. Batted out of play.
George Palacios got the hand on it near the sideline.
As once again, Westmont will have to punt it away.
And that's why I think it was so discouraging for Westmont. They need a spark, and
they need some quick hitters, Dave. They need to at least establish the passing game, I feel.
Something. If maybe just a first down or two, I think would maybe get some momentum going.
There's been problems with the punts. This one, again, low and just not a lot of loft on it, not a lot of roll. So Santa Teresa gets the ball back. 3:27 left to play in the first half. Again, it's homecoming night. Be an extended halftime.
So Westmont has had some.
Oh yes, yes.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, the land grant, the 1839 land grant, Alta California land grant called the Rancho Rinconada de los Gatos.
And it sits on that.
The campus is on the old land grant, yeah.
First and 10 for Santa Teresa from its 41. Cortez Caught by Souza. Souza looking to run. Following his blockers and into Westmont territory. A little bit about Cortez. Cortez not only plays football, he also plays basketball and soccer. And what makes that so remarkable, David Kiefer, is that basketball and soccer are played during the same season.
Right. Must have some very understanding coaches.
Very tolerant and patient coaches. As gain of 2 on the carry by Sousa. No, pardon me. It's been a while since we've seen Jimenez, but Bermudez, pardon me, Bermudez with the carry.
And I think, you know, when we saw Sousa a moment ago, you know, Sousa has this great ability to dodge tacklers, kind of evade individuals. Timeout here with Santa Teresa.
Yeah, Santa Teresa calls its final timeout. 2:45 remaining in the first half. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Saints. Continue, David?
Yeah, well, you know, I think one of the interesting things, just going back, talking about Westmont and the city of Campbell has always had a great baseball tradition. And I know Westmont's had some success in football. Guys like Chance Staden, who I remember played at Washington State like about 15 years ago or so. But Dan Gladden, a former Giant who played on 2 World Series championship teams with the Twins, is a Westmont graduate. And the Little League program at Campbell went to the Little League World Series and went to the championship game in 1976 and 1979 and lost both to Taiwan. But the players from those Little League World Series teams went on to play for schools like Westmont and Prospect, and those players came up, and in 1982, 2 Campbell schools, or 2 essential Campbell schools, Prospect is in Saratoga, but it takes a lot of Campbell kids, played for the CCS championship in baseball, and it was a 1-run game. That's kind of reflects some of the baseball
good trivia, partner. I love it. On 2nd and 7, Cortez with the handoff. And there's that Westmont defense. Tackle for a loss. It'll be 3rd and long as Bermudez unable to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Andrew Turrell with the tackle. But also, just one last note on the baseball part, there was a book written about Campbell Little League baseball and the baseball tradition called The Last Baseball Town, I believe is the name of the book, by Chuck Hildebrand, who's a longtime sports writer.
Chuck Hildebrand, he's a legend, and I would love to read that book. My favorite events every summer to watch the Little League World Series. 3rd and 11 for the Saints. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Here's Bermudez. And dragged down from behind by Andrew Terrell. This first half has been taking a while. In fact, it's halftime at other games. St. Francis leading Bellarmine. St. Francis of Mountain View 21-0. Sacred Heart Cathedral up 35-0 over Reardon. So a couple of shutouts going. De La Salle shutting out San Ramon Valley 34-0. That game's still in the 2nd quarter. On 4th down, it's picked off. Cortez picked off by Caden Hamilton. And it's Hamilton making a big play. We've seen some big returns. And here is Hamilton. Good field position for Westmont. 54 seconds remaining. The Warriors have 2 timeouts in their pockets.
Also about maybe 8 seconds ran off after the play was over. So it should be around a minute or more.
Exactly. Time asked to be put back on the clock. So that one overthrows the receiver. Hamilton with the sure hands. So now it's really up to this Westmont offense.
And they just, again, they just need a spark. Just one play that really can open things up and get them going. Let's see if Pulliam can produce one here with 3 out wide on the right.
Pulliam needs some pass protection. 3 receivers up top. The left-hander again elects to run, and a healthy gain for Pulliam. And Westmont calls a timeout. So 1 timeout remaining for the Warriors. It's a 7-yard gain by Pulliam. The kicker, we saw the extra point blocked for Westmont on the only PAT try by the 5'11", 170-pound first-year kicker Larson Betvarda.
So with 51 seconds left, the ball at the 23-yard line, I assume you would throw. I mean, I think the clock's you're just gonna eat up too much time if you don't. But they haven't Westmont hasn't proven that they can throw the ball yet. They do line up a number of receivers. It looks like they have the playbook to open it up a little bit. I don't know. What do you anticipate?
You know, not to pick on Pulliam, but I feel like he pulls the ball down just maybe a second too soon. And obviously he has a way better angle as to how this defense is covering, the secondary is covering his receivers. Obviously his line has really struggled tonight with pass protection. We'll see. Here we go. 3 receivers up top on 2nd and 3. Pulliam gets just knocked from behind, and Westmont has to call another timeout as the clock continues to tick here.
I'd have to see if, they have the 3 guys lined up on the right that went deep, fairly deep. I don't know if there's a hot receiver, just a running back or a tight end that just goes about 5 yards and turns around and is there for, just kind of just security reasons. If the quarterback can't find anybody open deep, but it seems like something like that would be enough for a first down at least, although they might have to use up a lot of clock if that happens.
So a tackle for a loss, 3rd and 5 after the timeout. No timeouts remaining for either team. 41 seconds left on the scoreboard. It's a 26-6 game. Westmont off the Caden Hamilton return. And again, it's the same formation. Grant trying to block. Here's Pulliam. Pulliam looking for the first down. And it's going to be 4th and short, and the clock's going to continue to tick here.
There's a big mismatch with
they can't spike the ball since it's 4th down. 20 seconds and counting as Westmont trying to get organized, staying with the same formation.
They have a couple.
Hold that thought, David.
Sure.
Yeah. Here we go. 4th down. Pulliam. I'm not sure who his target was there, but regardless, Westmont turns it over on downs with 8.5 seconds remaining. But there's a flag in the secondary as all 3 DBs in that territory have their hands up. Are we going to have a PI call, David?
Might have been a holding call. I know the referee already signaled. I missed the signal, but I'm guessing it was probably a holding call. He kind of unloaded the ball for his tight end, Jonah Wymore, but Wymore really wasn't in position to catch the ball because it was so quick and kind of an awkward pass.
So still uncertain as to what the call is here. It looks like it's 1st down. Is it 1st down for Westmont?
Yeah, it must have been, any penalty on Santa Teresa would result in a 1st down. Looks like a 10-yard walk-off.
So Westmont catches a break. We'll see if the referee signals again.
It's only 8 seconds left.
8.5 seconds remaining. Here comes the referee. Holding, defensive holding. So the ball is spotted at the 14, and obviously not going for the field goal. They'll have to look end zone here. 8.5 seconds remaining. Gilliam goes end zone. Jump ball, and it falls to the turf. 3.8 seconds remaining.
Well, they have mismatches with taller receivers against smaller defensive backs, and it seems like there should be an opportunity for Westmont to capitalize on those mismatches. There was a player on the right side who had plenty of room maybe for a fade to the right, but they didn't look that direction.
So a field goal would make it a 2-score game, granted with 2-point conversions necessary. Regardless, 3.8 seconds, the final play of the first half. Pulliam with time, it's a wobbler. The intended receiver falls down, loses his shoe. No, the defender loses his shoe. So Westmont heads into the locker room, I'm sure, bemoaning that they could not capitalize on the Caden Hamilton interception and fine run. But it's homecoming night at Santa Teresa High. The Saints up 26-6. We'll step away and return with more action on CreaTV Sports.
Oh, come on.
Whoa, what's all the fuss about?
Hey, Ned Neutral. I'm just trying to apply for a job opening, but the page won't load. What's the point of paying my internet service provider if they can't give me simple access to a website?
Well, Sam, that could be the new norm if net neutrality rulings are reversed.
Net neutrality?
Communication is a necessity, which is why the FCC deemed the internet a public utility in 2015.
What does that mean?
It means that the internet was regulated, and internet service providers couldn't block or slow down content that they didn't agree with. But that's all changing now. The FCC plans to reverse net neutrality and give corporations the freedom that they want.
What can they do with this power?
Well, that's the scary part. They can slow down any service that they disagree with, block news outlets, or bring your web pages to a halt.
That's horrible. We as consumers need to have our voices heard and tell them to keep an open internet.
You better do it fast, because if net neutrality is restricted, then you might not have the platform to speak through.
Why is that?
Because the open internet is a platform for marginalized voices, if you want to question large internet providers, you will receive a one-way ticket to access denied.
Content removal, information restriction, speed throttling? It's just not fair. The public deserves equal access to the internet.
So call your representative, contact the FCC, let them know how you feel, and fight for an open and fair internet.
Hello? Ned? Anyone there?
Halftime at Santa Teresa High School. The Saints lead on homecoming night 26-6. Kirsten Fairchild's David Kiefer on CreaTV Sports. Santa Teresa able to put a scoring drive together on their first drive, and this was that east-west, north-south running. And the Westmont offense really having a difficult time dealing with the Santa Teresa defense.
Right. They had some good run backs like that one, which was ended with a big hit. But in the end, Pulliam, the quarterback for Westmont, just hasn't had any time to throw the ball. And the Santa Teresa, this was a highlight for Westmont here, and this was the interception return
by Caden Hamilton.
Yeah, and that one unfortunately did not create any points on that series. They fell just short. But some good plays. Oh, this was the other interception by Westmont that was returned for a touchdown by Osman Sase for 41 yards, and this put Westmont on the board and within 20-6 in the second quarter. And then Cortez for Santa Teresa made something happen with this touchdown pass to Jonto, his Mr. Everything for Santa Teresa, and that's where the score is now at 26-6 at halftime for Santa Teresa.
Hey, can we talk about the marching band? I mean, it was just extraordinary. And I know our viewers had a chance to watch it. I hope the sound was up for them. But as you and I were talking, it's just kind of almost seems like a throwback when you really have a well-produced halftime show in high school. And I know it was very much appreciated tonight on homecoming night.
Yeah, it's not too many schools have a marching band or traditional marching band anymore. And the way Santa Teresa did it, it was they worked well with a dance team and flag girls and all kinds of moving parts in the same thing. It was kind of very theatrical. And I was really impressed. That was a beautiful show for the Santa Teresa band. It was really amazing.
Absolutely. And, of course, congratulations to the homecoming court on homecoming. While we have the opportunity, a big thanks to the folks here at Santa Teresa High School, starting with their athletics department and, of course, head coach Ajane Palmer. And also want to give a shout out to the public address announcer Neil Wilson, who calls all of the Saints sports so very, very well. Well, just a scoring summary. Only one score in the first quarter. That was a 4-yard run from Arndt to send Santa Teresa up 6-0. The 2-point conversion failed. Saints took that 6-0 lead into the second quarter and scored quickly, as we saw Jonto with the catch from 6 yards out. PAT was good, 13-0. And then it was a blocked punt, allowing Vitek to run it back from 30 yards for a 20-0 lead. And then it was Westmont, the pick six by Sase from 41 yards out to make it a 20-6 game. And then Santa Teresa Cortez hooking up with Sousa from 54 yards out with 5:26 remaining for a 26-6 lead as the extra point failed. And then that Caden Hamilton interception gave Westmont prime field position, unable to convert, but it's the Warriors getting the ball first, and it's Hamilton from his 8 out across the 20 and dropped at the 21. David, what sort of adjustments are you hoping that Westmont made here at the break?
I'd like to see them throw the ball a little bit more. I think they have mismatches at several receiver positions, just taller receivers against smaller defensive backs, and I'd like to see if Westmont can take advantage of those mismatches. And being down by 20 points, I don't know if the running game has really produced enough to say that we're just going to ground the ball downfield. I think it's going to probably have to come via the pass if Westmont's going to get back in the game.
The Warriors get to work from their own 22. Moore in motion. And the handoff to Grant, and a repeat of the first half. Another tackle for a loss by the Santa Teresa D.
Yeah, that was Carlos Padilla with the big tackle there. He's had a couple big hits today. Very impressive game so far for Padilla.
Four receivers for Pulliam, sends Grant in motion. Grant, sweep, cuts back inside. Grant, his best run of the night, albeit for still short yardage.
Yeah, and you're still catching a 3rd and long situation where it's almost it has to be a passing down for Westmont.
Grant finally you know, just on that play, able to show a little of what he can do and why he's the starting running back on this Westmont team. The blocking just isn't there for him on the interior runs.
Yeah, it's one of the few opportunities he's had to not get hit before he even gets to the line of scrimmage.
Empty backfield for Pulliam. Pulliam. Seems like something we've just continued to see tonight. Just the protection isn't there for Pulliam.
And that's, again, a kind of a discouraging 3 and out there for the Warriors, having to punt it back and give the Saints an opportunity to build on a 20-point lead. That's not the way they wanted to come out in the second half.
Moore, the senior, has had a busy night. That punt. As the punter, one blocked punt. Goes for a Saints touchdown. This one bounces, caught at the 37. Into Westmont territory, and that zigzag curly Q running. He could go all the way, and no, everything but in. Boy, I tell you, if he just ran north to south, he would have been out on Snell Avenue.
What an amazing run by Aguirre. Made a lot out of nothing, just going back and forth, cutting back, and doesn't get rewarded with the touchdown. That was a 62-yard return. Look at him starting left, going up the middle, breaking a tackle, cutting right, beating almost everybody to the end zone except
for the punter, Moore. So Moore with the touchdown saving tackle, albeit it's first and goal for the Saints from the 1. Aguirre has proven to be an entertaining punt returner if you're a Santa Teresa fan. Cortez under center. The handoff. He's in.
And that was Aguirre.
They let Aguirre finish it off from 1 yard out. Santa Teresa touchdown.
Well, that's appropriate. I think that's the reason why Aguirre, he deserved that touchdown after that amazing punt return. 1 yard run, and that's going to put the Saints up 32-6 pending the extra point try.
They need another player. Here he comes, the mystery player, number 11. We don't have him on the roster. Sousa ready to go. You can tell Sousa, the senior kicker, saying, hey, we need another guy out here. It's good. 9:24 remaining in the third quarter, and Santa Teresa comes out in a hurry thanks to Aguirre. 33-6, the Saints lead.
That was just a spectacular punt return by Aguirre when it looked like the ball was just taking a roll, and then it took kind of a high hop, and I don't even know if he was planning on catching the ball until it just happened to bounce right in front of him, and he grabbed it out of the air at the 37-yard line. So that was a 62-yard return to the 1 yard line, and Aguirre finished it off for the touchdown. And that's the second rushing touchdown for Santa Teresa after Arndt's early run for the initial score. Cortez has 2 touchdown passes, and then they've got another one on a return of a blocked punt, and that's how you account for 5 touchdowns.
Westmont, let's see if they kick it away from Hamilton. Nope, right to him, this time from his 10. And dropped near the 28. And he needs some help from his teammates to get up. So the Westmont Warriors really struggling with its passing game. The running game has not been faring much better, but the Warriors with another chance on offense as Hamilton, you see, really looked like he went down really hard, but able to pop back up.
And
Santa Teresa again with personnel problems. Have to make sure someone else comes out on the field, so they have 11.
And if Santa Teresa pulls this off, this would end not that you want to really illustrate this too much, but they have a 9-game losing streak going back to last year, and you'd never know it by the way they're playing today. And really, but with the spirit that they've had all year, even with the losses that they've suffered.
Well, and I think we should mention for Santa Teresa, their JV team is 8-0. I think, what was the score, 46-0 tonight?
I think it was 48-0, yeah.
48-0 for this junior varsity team that is 8-0.
Yeah, Santa Teresa looks like they have a pretty good future. I think if you look to next year, they're going to be a much improved team, and even maybe in the last couple games of this season as well.
Pulliam picked up 8, 2nd and 2 for the Warriors. And he's dragged down from behind. As Santa Teresa, just seems like so many defenders are making the play. This is the linebacker, Youssef Alayan, with the tackle, and a loss of 4. So really this Westmont offense has been very one note tonight. Santa Teresa has it all sniffed out.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of, really a lot of variety. It's mostly been Pulliam carrying the ball or going back to pass and then bringing it down and trying to run it. Great athlete, but it seems like he's definitely the focus of the Saints defense.
Pulliam with a quick hitter, caught in stride, first down, and ooh, just an ugly looking tackle. But Grant.
Yeah, and I think that's the type of thing that I think Westmont would like to see more of, the little slant there. Doesn't have to be a long pass, but just something that maybe quick, couple step drop, so you can get the ball out quickly and, get a nice game. They got a first down out of it. It's been a while since the Warriors have gotten a first down.
You see such an awkward looking fall there for Grant on the catch. 1st and 10, Westmont from its 44, 7:40 remaining in the third quarter, trailing 33-6. Gilliam.
And that looked like that was James Carlson bringing him down for a loss.
This really feels like a baptism by fire for Gilliam.
Yeah, I mean, it's, that's how the Mountain Hamilton division is. It's tough competition week in, week out. And I know that's Westmont has struggled all year putting up points. And, defenses are tough. This is the toughest division in the Blossom Valley Athletic League out of the 3 divisions. So you're going to face that type of thing every week.
Pardon me, Pulliam, the quarterback, 6:45 remaining. 2nd and 14 for the Warriors. Designated run play. Lowers his shoulder and the big hit right in front of the sideline.
That was a Geary with the hit on Pulliam on the draw play.
3rd and 7 for the Warriors.
But again, you don't see too many 3rd and 1s or 3rd and 2s. Everything is 3rd and long. There's no obvious type of, just hand off to the runner up the middle and get the short yardage. Here's the mysterious number 3 at quarterback again. Oh, no, sorry. That's Pulliam again. I apologize.
Caught. First down. And finally, stringing some 3rd down conversions together. Alfred Tano, the sophomore wide receiver with good size with the catch.
Yeah, 6'4", 200 pounds playing receiver. And that's the type of mismatch we were talking about, where often he's covered by a guy who's under 6 feet tall, maybe, 150. It's this type of thing that maybe the Warriors can go to a little bit more down the stretch.
From the Santa Teresa 43, Protection for Pulliam. A high arching throw and just through the fingertips of Tuno, who had a chance for consecutive catches and consecutive first downs. And as you mentioned, there really, as often can be the case in the high school game, that you really have a mismatch between receiver and DB cornerbacks. But that one just not quite on the money.
But I have to think that, yeah, I think the receivers, I would guess that the receivers are thinking, that's, you know what, even though he didn't make the catch, they like the fact that that Pulliam's throwing the ball downfield, and it probably gets them into the game a little bit more.
2nd and 10. Picked off. Deflected and then picked off. Santa Teresa looking to make another defensive play. And some other fancy running. And it's Santa Teresa ball. Number 11 as David Kiefer has gone to the PA announcer. We don't have him on the roster we were furnished with. So what looked to be a potential scoring drive for Westmont results in the interception. And David, please introduce our mystery guest.
That's David Alvarado with the big interception off the deflection. And we've seen him in the game quite a few times, and now we know who he is.
Yes, he was on our roster. He's number 19, listed at safety. And switch that to 11. 1st and 10 for Santa Teresa from the Westmont 36. Here comes the blitz. Tackle missed and then recovered as Andrew Terrell with the tackle, maybe pickup of 1 on the play, or no, let's make that a loss of 2.
Yeah, Terrell has made some nice plays today. He seems to be in on a lot of these tackles for losses or big plays by the Warrior defense.
4 minutes and change remaining in the 3rd.
So do you have 4 on your roster also for Santa Teresa? Do you have 4 on your roster?
No.
Okay. I'll get you his name in a bit too.
In trouble. Eluding trouble and finally dropped as Westmont makes its biggest defensive play of the night. That's a sophomore defensive end, Timothy Galvin.
Showing some wheels there too. I mean, that's a, you know, there's some quickness in that Santa Teresa lineup, and for a big guy to corral some of these guys, like Cortez is not a slow guy, and Galvin really stayed with them and got the big loss. It's like 3rd and 20 or 30 or something like that. Now it's huge.
It's officially listed at 25. Looks a little more than that. So Santa Teresa now in its own territory. 3:30 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 3rd down. Cortez out of the shotgun. Caught. And it'll make it 4th and manageable, if there is such a thing, when you don't punt on 4th down, and it's Lario with another catch.
Yeah, nice play, and that really sets them up well because, like you said, it's always 4 down territory for the Saints.
Plenty of time for Cortez. Thrown in traffic and caught. Still on his feet. It's the tight end. Touchdown, Saints.
Jonto with a 34-yard touchdown reception.
Some nifty moves after securing the ball.
That's his 2nd touchdown of the day. Ethan Jonto, and you can see why coaches thought so highly of him last year to vote him as a utility player of the year. The guy does a lot for this team. Caught the ball in traffic and then sliced through several other defenders.
Sousa. Point after is good. The Santa Teresa offense making plays. And it's Jonto once again with a touchdown reception. 40 20-6 after the 34-yard reception.
34 yards, yeah. And think about a couple plays earlier when Santa Teresa faced, was it a 3rd and 30 or 3rd and 25? And, you know, made a big play to get close, and then on 4th down, scored a touchdown. So that was impressive. And I think that's what, you know, when we talked about Coach Palmer saying, you know, the percentages say that it's always best to go for it on 4th down. He's kind of uses kind of metrics, I guess, in a way. He watched a video of a coach in Arkansas who pledged that the best thing to do is always go for it on 4th down, and so he was convinced that that's the way he wanted to play, and his players loved that style.
Hamilton from his own 14. Driven back. One bright spot for Westmont for sure has been the return capability of Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, he's given them some pretty decent returns. You know, it's just, you know, what can the Warriors do with them? I mean, I think that's the key right there.
Wilcox leading Milpitas 13-7 at the end of the 3rd quarter. It's always a good matchup. Sacred Heart Cathedral beats Reardon by 39 points. There's some really early games played today. This game, with the number of incomplete passes, turned into a lengthy one. As a new ball carrier for Westmont, it's Michael Darobertis. We saw him a little bit in the first half, the 5'9", 195-pound junior.
Yeah, and James Carlson with the bruising tackle on that play. He's had a few today, or tonight. He's been very effective. Coming in low, just textbook.
Yes. Santa Teresa, I feel like over the years, especially under the previous coach, Nick Alfano, really always ready to play defensively, always just really stingy defense.
You know, Saints have been a solid program. I'm not sure if that pass was deflected or not, just didn't quite get there.
It looked like just kind of some awkward movement by Pulliam, the intended receiver, the junior tight end, Jonah Wymore.
Yeah, you know, I think typically Santa Teresa will be about a middle of the pack team in the Mount Hamilton division, then every once in a while maybe a little bit more or a little bit lower, but they've always been a very solid team that's you know, respected. They've always been in this top division. They've never gone down, and it's
into the Santa Teresa division.
Correct.
Interestingly enough.
Whereas Westmont has mostly played in the Santa Teresa division. They're only in their 2nd year in the Mount Hamilton.
On 3rd and 10, Pulliam turning, and the ball comes loose. Covered up by Vitex. So Pulliam with his best run of the night, but
that was Owen Nakagawa who stripped the ball from Pulliam after that great run, and Vitek, who has a touchdown earlier, was the one who recovered the ball. So here he is, Pulliam with evading several tacklers, and then look at that tackle there by Nakagawa, and then Vitek in the right spot to make the recovery.
There was a penalty on the play, defensive holding called on Santa Teresa. So Coach Palmer asking for an explanation.
So that's going to wipe out the turnover.
And it's Westmont ball.
Right, yeah, the officials trying to get the chains moved. Yeah, so Santa Teresa still on defense. Westmont does take advantage of the Pulliam run. So interesting to see if he's going to air it out a little bit, or maybe that's going to kind of open things up a little bit. The fact that he has thrown a little bit earlier maybe opens things up for the run.
Pulliam lowers his shoulder. And looks like we've got some pushing and shoving on the far sideline.
Yeah, a little bit of a stare down after that play by both sides.
Still waiting to see where the ball is spotted.
I'm going to bring it back to like the
Horrible
46.
spot.
I think that might have been where he might have stepped out of bounds.
Yeah. 2nd and 5 as we near the minute mark here in the 3rd quarter. Both teams with all their timeouts. Westmont with the ball left to right here at Santa Teresa Stadium. Warriors down 40-6. Pulliam with some real estate in front of him. First down yardage for Pulliam.
And one thing you have to give Pulliam credit for is his courage. He does not shy away from anything. You know, he's willing to take on anybody at any time. You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, and in some ways seems rather elusive, especially when he's running straight up the gut. I always expect him to be tackled before he actually is.
Yeah, and he's had a number of carries. You know, he's pretty durable, or at least he's shown that tonight.
The one thing I'm a little bit surprised of is the job he's doing securing the ball when he runs. Seems to secure it better in his right hand than he does in his left hand, and he is obviously left-handed. On 1st and 10, Pulliam hurdling. Vitek runs him down from behind. Did the ball come loose?
Now that should be illegal. You're not allowed in high school to hurdle a player.
The ball came loose. It's Santa Teresa ball. Like to see the replay on that play. And I was just saying, is that an announcer jinx? That when he holds it in his left hand, ironically,
yeah, he doesn't
he seems left
really tuck it away. Oh, that was a big hit by
that was just a big hit.
42, which is Jacob Miller, the all-leaguer.
0.2 of a second remaining in the 3rd. Vitek in the backfield. Cortez under center. Vitek. And comes out of bounds. Maybe 6 on the carry. 3 quarters in the books. Santa Teresa looking for its first win of the season. They're up by 34.
This show sucks.
What the?
Don't like this program? Did you know you could create your own?
Really?
Yeah.
What the?
First, there are a few things you need to know about copyright. Copyright is any intellectual property that is protected by law, such as literature, movies, music, and more. If you want to use intellectual property, you must get permission from the owner.
But what if we can't get permission?
Legally, you can't use it because you would be at risk of content removal and lawsuits. However, copyright fosters new and innovative ideas.
If I want to produce content, but I can't get permission for intellectual property?
We can use our own creativity.
Copyright! Just remember, copyright is all around us, which means I must be going.
Cool. Now I want to make my own video.
Back at Santa Teresa High School, the Saints with the lead at home, 40-6. You're watching CreaTV sports coverage of Blossom Valley Athletic League Mount Hamilton Division play. Currently atop the standings, Oak Grove and Lincoln, 4-0 going into tonight. Last year, Oak Grove was the Mount Hamilton Division champions. The Eagles 6-1 in league play in front of Live Oak and Piedmont Hills, which both went 5-2. Kirsten Fairchilds, David Kiefer. David, a better effort from Westmont's offense in the third quarter, but it pays off and no points.
Yeah, I mean, Santa Teresa has been very opportunistic in causing turnovers, and we've seen that several times. So every time it seems like Westmont gets things rolling a little bit, Santa Teresa comes up with a big play to shut it down, whether that's like the end of the first half when Westmont was closing in on a touchdown after a long interception return, or after some nice runs by the quarterback Pulliam. It just seems like Westmont just can't seem to get over the hump, and the Saints are a big reason why.
Saints defense has played well tonight, really taking away many options for this Westmont's offense. Cortez out of the shotgun on 2nd and 3. Dumps it off, and it's too low for Vitek.
Yeah, we were curious about a running clock in high school, and it would happen when a team is up by 35 points in the fourth quarter. It would be an automatic. Right now, the deficit for Westmont is 34, so if the lead is extended, then the game would go to a running clock.
Janto brings the play in to Cortez. Santa Teresa 0-7 on the season. Again, 3 of those losses by 7 points or fewer, including last week's double overtime loss, 19-13. Cortez looking to throw, flush from the pocket, steps back in, and that was behind the receiver. Had enough on it, but the intended receiver, Solario, who's had a pair of catches tonight, incomplete pass.
Yeah, but Cortez always seems to make something happen, whether it's stepping up in the pocket or avoiding a pass rush. The play is never over with Cortez at quarterback, it seems.
As we take another look.
Spinning around, stepping up in the pocket. The throw wasn't quite there, but he's completed several of those types of throws all night. So
on 4th and 3.
And again, no punter in sight for the Saints.
Cortez chatting with Vitek. Vitek playing on offense.
And you never see.
Beginning in the second half, and here he is, and he's tackled for a loss. So Santa Teresa turns it over on downs. It'll be great field position for this Westmont offense.
And that was, I think, the first time that I remember seeing Cortez under center the whole game.
Like 3 times tonight. It's been very rare.
Yeah, they switched from the spread to a traditional offensive set, and it didn't quite work out. But great field position for Westmont, which, again, Westmont hasn't scored a lot of points this year. So another touchdown, I think, a touchdown by the offense would be, I think, a huge confidence builder for the Warriors. Remember, the earlier touchdown was on an interception return, so it would be big.
From the Santa Teresa 42. I formation. Pulliam. Nope, number 3. Number 3 for Westmont with the handoff to Darabertes. There is another quarterback listed on our roster. It's a 5'5", 138-pound sophomore by the name of Andrew Oswald. However, number 3 looks much taller than 5'5", so I cannot believe that that is him. That is he, I should say. The way the press box is set up here at Santa Teresa, the Westmont coaches are actually on the roof, so we're unable to ask them. And that's a good run by Darabertes.
Yeah, he seems to be, well, there's Grant. Early Grant is coming back in.
As is Pulliam.
Interesting. And their big receiver is coming out, and that would be Tuanao. Grant is lined up as a receiver in a slot.
Pulliam. So interesting about the quarterback change there, unless Pulliam just needed something addressed, maybe a taping, etc.
Yeah, you know, it's sometimes they'll insert, I don't know, Westmont specifically, but just in general, a team may insert a player for certain plays, like they practice. They specialize almost in certain plays in practice, and then when maybe a situation comes up where they can run that play, they will go in because that is their play. So it's possible that's what Westmont has been doing.
4th and 3 for Westmont. The Warriors trailing 40-6. Across the middle, and it's caught. First down, and it's another catch as Westmont's Tuneau, the sophomore here, making his mark in the second half.
Yeah, and, you know, to me, I mean, he looks like a guy who can make plays. I mean, maybe because he's so young that's a reason why he hasn't been a bigger part of the offense. Obviously, Santa Teresa's pass rush has been a key factor in that as well. But he looks like a guy who can be very effective, and I'd love to see more of him.
Pulliam, empty backfield, takes off running. Pulliam still running. And Westmont in the red zone.
And that was a play where the receivers had all lined up on the left. It looked like kind of an imbalanced line possibly, so running to the weak side fooled the Saints defense a little bit.
Oh no, Pulliam's spotting good blocks up there, springing Pulliam, but I wonder in some regards is the Santa Teresa defense getting tired? They've been on the field so much tonight.
Yeah, and I don't know how many of their regulars are still in there, or if
looks like quite a few.
I see some familiar faces and familiar hair.
Sweep trying to get around the left side, pardon me, and it's DeBertos. Maybe a handful on the carry.
And Westmont with really is this his deepest penetration of the game to the 10-yard line? I think that's even farther than they were able to get at the end of the first half. So prime scoring opportunity, even though it's a second and fairly long situation.
Yeah, 2nd and 7. So it looks like have to get down to the 3 for a first down. Empty backfield once again. Pulliam. Here comes pressure, and he throws it to the back of the end zone. That looks like it was intercepted, but out of bounds. So out of bounds, that'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, not a wise choice. I saw that receiver the entire play, and 2 receivers on that side, and both of them were tightly covered. There was no way that either one of those players would be able to make the play. I think Pulliam just kind of was forced. He should have just thrown it away.
We have not seen a pass thrown away tonight, David.
Yeah, well, you know, it's all learning situation. I mean, he's a first-year starter. You know, it's all a learning experience for a lot of these guys.
3rd and 7 from the Santa Teresa 10. 8:55 remaining in the ball game. Westmont looking for its first score on offense. Pulliam into traffic, but it's caught. Touchdown Westmont from 10 yards out. It's the sophomore with the catch, Alfred Tuneau.
And that's exactly the type of mismatch that he can take advantage of. He just basically got position and out jumped the defender, who was probably about at least 6 inches shorter than he was. So great play by Tuneau for the touchdown on the 10-yard pass.
Westmont a little late getting their 11th man on the field. The kick. Well, it's good. Larson Betvarda on the PAT. 8:48 remaining in the ball game. It's a 40-13 Santa Teresa lead. What'd you like about that Westmont drive, David?
I like the fact that they were able to use Tuneau for a couple key plays there, because Like I said, he seems like he's one of the best players on the field, or at least has the opportunity to be one. And pulling a couple, nice runs, a couple nice throws, and it was nice to see them, the Warriors, mix it up a little bit. And just getting a touchdown, again, that's, Westmont doesn't score a lot of points. I think the most points that Westmont scored all year is 16, and they're only within 3 of that. So I think that was a big confidence booster for the Westmont offense. And then they've got a couple games coming up against Pioneer next week, and then Leland to finish off the season. So you have to hope that maybe this will help down the road.
Saints will get the ball back. And an 0-7 team, the Santa Teresa Saints. Up 40-13. Is a big boot, and it trickles through the end zone for a touchback. First touchback of the night as Santa Teresa's offense will get back to work. And I was wondering if we might see a change at quarterback here in the fourth quarter. We've seen Janto, and it looks like we may see Janto again. Nope. Yep. So Cortez, not sure if he's exactly done for the night, but he's at least this series will watch from the sideline.
Yeah, we talked about Coach Palmer, Ajane Palmer. I don't know if it's time to get into.
Okay, yeah, I'm allowed one. I'm allowed to say this one time, and I've been given permission to say something one time. So here we go. In a bit, I'll get to it. Janto off that diamond formation. This time he takes up, runs off left tackle for 4 yards. Okay. Ajane Palmer, the head coach for Santa Teresa, had a nickname when he played in junior college. And I get to say it once. There he is. It is Prime Time Palmer. When he played for Gavilan in 2002, he was the junior college player of the week. He had some insane game where he threw for like 316 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for 2 touchdowns, was this amazing player in junior college. He did not play football in high school. He was a basketball player, and I got my one time in. You heard that nickname. If you missed it, Deion Sanders used to be called it. There's your big hint. So I appreciate that he lets us call him that once. Yeah. So I used my once. I don't know if that means you get one.
No, I don't think so. I think that probably was enough for both of us. And I think he's hoping that nobody's listening right there.
Yeah, and so after the first down yardage, as you see, one thing, when they talk about coaches, you always hear like, oh, I love those defensive-minded coaches. I love those hood coaches that play defense. So here he was, didn't play high school football, a quarterback very successfully, well after he graduated, no chance to go on and play at the next level. He did play semi-pro football for the Gilroy Barnstormers, tried out for the Sabercats. That wasn't successful. But, here he is at the helm, and as a former quarterback, not having his team ever punt, I'm sure that played something into it.
Yeah, I mean, we just found him to be very engaging and, almost inspirational in kind of his excitement for coaching football. And he, the record doesn't reflect it, but I think the fact that the team has not given up or been discouraged despite a lot of losses has really been a great sign of, how connected he is with his team. The fact that they can take the league leader to a tiebreaker last week and then put up the kind of numbers that they put up today, just goes to show that they've been, improving as a team throughout the season.
So he graduated in 1994 from Oak Grove, and as mentioned, a basketball player. Here we go as Santa Teresa's Cortez hands off to number 18 for Santa Teresa, Chase Arndt. Arndt had the first score of the night and has had very few touches ever since.
Well, I think Arndt's number has changed to number 4. So I'm not sure who that was. We got word a little while ago that Arndt was number 4 now. So I don't know if he.
Okay, maybe that's A.J. Hamrock, the 5'8", 150-pound junior.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep track with the high schools. Sometimes rosters, as we've discovered over the years, are not quite maybe as accurate as you would like, but that's okay. We work through it.
Cortez under center, the signal caller calling out the play and the pitch. Bermudez around the end, but it'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, I don't think that play worked exactly the way it was designed. It seemed like Cortez was expecting a handoff and not a pitch, and then he looked over at his coach after the play, and again he pointed at his chest like that was on me.
Yeah, we had not seen that executed quite like that. 4th and 3 from the 49 for Santa Teresa. 5:10 remaining in the ball game. Sousa split wide right. He has been a playmaker tonight. And that too low for Sousa, and for the second time in the second half, Santa Teresa turns it over on downs. Westmont, fresh off a scoring drive, will get back to work in Santa Teresa territory.
And see if there's, any momentum that Westmont can carry over from that last drive. I think anything they can get right now is something that they can build on for the future, for the next 2 games.
Pulliam wastes no time, and on the first play picks up 6.
And again, it's typical, he runs right into traffic. He's not afraid to get down dirty and take on tacklers. It's, again, very impressive the way that he's got a great heart, it appears.
Really looks like the Santa Teresa defense with a number of reserves in, especially in the secondary. Looks like a few of the linemen starters have stayed on. 2nd and 5 for the Warriors. 3 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in the ball game. And he's dropped near the original line of scrimmage.
And I was just looking at Tuino, and he was given a big cushion, and the one-on-one defender was at least 8 inches shorter than him. Those are, again, the type of things I'd love to see the ball if he had time. That's a whole nother issue if Pulliam has time to throw. But just go after that play after play after play if it's there.
Robledo, the junior outside linebacker, with the sack. Loss of 5. 3rd and 10 for the Warriors. Low snap, but picked up, and a quick hitter, and that should have been caught by Tuino.
Yeah, a lot of heavy pressure. Looks like Santa Teresa was blitzing on that play, and I think Pulliam unloaded before his receiver maybe expected the ball to come out. It didn't look like he was quite ready for the ball when it got to him.
Both teams with all 3 timeouts. And it looks like Westmont will go for it. Instead,
wasn't that a timeout signal?
That was a stop the clock signal, but no timeout asked for. On 4th and 10, Pulliam under pressure. Pulliam, and he's close to a first down. We'll see where they mark it.
That was all him. Another heavy rush, some good pressure by Santa Teresa, but Pulliam just getting to the outside and finding room down the sideline for a really gutsy first down.
Pulliam, who perhaps was in the negative yardage in the first half, is turning his statistics around here in the second. he was able to find some holes in this defense, and Westmont converts on 4th down. Move the chains, the Warriors with the fresh set of downs.
Yeah, impressive run. Again, he's, been willing to make those kind of plays all night.
Let's run a marathon tonight.
Yeah, he's going to have to be probably a little bit sore tomorrow, but yeah, great effort on his part.
4 split wide for Pulliam. Here comes the pressure. Immediately puts the ball on his hip. And pick up of about 8 from Pulliam. I think the one thing that also has been different in the second half is he's deciding to pull the ball down quicker than he did in the first. I think right away when he feels like the pressure's coming, he doesn't even look downfield at his receivers.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like these runs recently on these past few plays. There's definitely been intent, like right off the bat.
On 2nd and 6.
Same here. Oof.
As he's tackled forward for a 1st down. And we certainly, right now it's all Pulliam. How does that affect you feel like the receiving core?
I think it can be discouraging, but I think the fact that these look like very planned plays, planned running plays, because he's so decisive about running the ball, and he sees that once he gets past that initial line that there's some gaps there in the middle of the defense.
Inside 2 minutes remaining. 1st and 10. Caught. And Westmont's Van Tran, the 5'9", 165-pound junior, with his first catch of the night, and it comes with 1:47 remaining in the ball game.
And let's see if Westmont can capitalize. Time is running out, but this would be, if they could score a touchdown, it would be the most points the Warriors have scored all season in one game.
From the Santa Teresa 15. Remember, both teams with all 3 timeouts. Pulliam like a matador, and Pulliam inside the 5. It looked like the Bulls were just rushing past him. It's 1st and goal, Warriors.
Yeah, he's so effective about just getting past that first line of defense. Just a little shift here and there, and then just takes on defenders once he gets some gaps. But this is a great opportunity for Westmont to get its 2nd offensive touchdown of the game.
Inside 90 seconds. 1st and goal from the 4.
And look at Tuino. He's got looks like one-on-one against a much smaller defensive back.
Well, isn't that Arndt?
Yeah.
Pulliam hard into the end zone. Touchdown, Westmont.
Wow. Well, that's a just reward for the quarterback after really the effort and the heart that he's displayed this entire game.
Gabriel Pulliam, the first-year starter at senior, into the end zone with 1:08 remaining in the ball game.
Yeah, and he just took James Carlson on one-on-one. It was kind of like the Bo Jackson thing against Brian Bosworth.
You're going way back, partner. The PAT is low, no good. 1:08 remaining in the ball game. It's a 40-19 score in favor of Santa Teresa. And we want to take an opportunity to thank the City of San Jose Council member Sergio Jimenez. Thank you so much for your support of high school athletics. Sergio Jimenez, his district is District 2. That is where we are located, Santa Teresa High School. I know for a fact the athletic department, Coach Palmer, really appreciative of Sergio Jimenez helping contribute to bringing this broadcast. Thank you so much from CreaTV Sports, Councilmember Jimenez, for your support of high school athletics. Kirsten Fairchild's David Kiefer. 2 0-4 Mount Hamilton Division teams facing off tonight. The first half, really a decisive statement by the Santa Teresa Saints.
Yeah, that was, I think, when Westmont was unable to score at the end of the second quarter. That was really kind of where its fate was sealed, it seemed like. But, you know, they've continued to fight. The Warriors have continued to fight throughout the game, and these last 2 touchdowns that have brought the Westmont Warriors within 21 points have really been, I think, a nice confidence booster for the team.
Santa Teresa has been held scoreless in the fourth quarter as the return taken at the 12. And running along the near sideline. A huge return. Wouldn't you know it? It is Aguirre from the 12 to the 12. And Giovanni Aguirre electrifying the Saints crowd.
Gosh, again, he's like a great effort. And it,
make it the 10.
Yeah, falls just short. I know he's had some spectacular plays, and he'd like to get probably even more out of these 2 plays that he's had that haven't quite finished into the end zone.
And it's the kicker, Van Aert, in on the stop. 1st and 10 went from the 12 to the 12.
It looks like they're probably just going to take a knee. Well, I shouldn't say that.
53 seconds remaining. Cortez with the handoff. They're not going to call a timeout, but I think we'll see the reserves try to get into the end zone. On the ground, Cortez once again with the handoff. And now the whistles blow.
That's Armando Corral with the last 2 carries. I think the only thing that they're trying to do here is get guys that normally don't score touchdowns the opportunity to score touchdowns. Because
the officials are trying to stop the clock. It finally stops at 15 seconds. I think we'll put some time back on as there was a penalty. So encroachment on the defense on that previous play. That is why the clock has stopped. So the ball will be spotted at the 5.
I think they're going to take a knee. Here's my guess.
That's right, Coach Palmer. These 2 head coaches have known each other for a long time. And actually, Cortez, their little wing T here, am I right?
Yeah, I think he's just going to go down. He's just running some time off the clock.
And that'll do it. On homecoming night, Santa Teresa picks up its first win. Coach Palmer still has some wheels. I think he thought the Gatorade bath was coming. Instead, his team now.
They tried. He was too quick.
He's still got the wheels. I think they spilled the Gatorade or the water before it got to him. So Coach Palmer will stay dry. His team will have to settle for hugs instead of the Gatorade bath. The Saints 40, Westmont 19. Westmont moves to 1-7 overall. 0-5 in league play. Santa Teresa 1-7 and 1-4 in league play as the 2 coaches meet and embrace at midfield.
Yeah, the coaches go way back.
Way back.
Coach Palmer actually, I think, played or something.
Pop Warner,
yeah,
I think, for Coach Kanapu.
There's some history there, but really a great performance by Santa Teresa. Their first win of the season in resounding fashion, and breaks a 9-game losing streak going back to last year. But I think more than that, it just shows the spirit of this Santa Teresa team, especially with this coaching staff and how excited they are to play football, and just how much fun they're having. They just look like Santa Teresa just looked like they were having fun tonight.
Yeah, great defensive presence from the Saints. Let's look at some of the scoring in the second half. Santa Teresa getting to work. Remember that 62-yard return by Aguirre, the return yardage he's racked up tonight, 1 yard shy of the end zone. And David, you said it, they gave it to him on the next play to finish it off with an exclamation point.
They had to. Yeah, he deserved it. He deserved the score on that sequence.
So Giovanni Aguirre punched it in from the 1. And then it was the turnover, the interception.
And yeah, you know, that was indicative of a lot of the flaws that Westmont had, just not being able to secure the ball. But Santa Teresa continued.
And this, I believe, from 34 yards out, it's Junto, and then he uses his physicality to get into the end zone. That made it a 40-6 Santa Teresa lead. Westmont, Pulliam, what a night he had, and the difference in the second half, that's right, the ball came loose on that play. Difference in the second half, he was more effective, and that's just a great up and get from 2-0 from 10 yards out for the score in the fourth quarter. That made it 40-13. Here's Pulliam, the 4-yard run. The PAT missed, and that would hold up for our final score. Santa Teresa 40, Westmont 19 in this A-League, the Mount Hamilton division. David, your final thoughts?
I think, you know, both teams could really see the positives out of this. I think the Westmont offense got untracked late in the game, scored the most points that they've scored in one game all year. Same with Santa Teresa. They had probably their best game of the year, their first victory of the season, and just kind of a complete victory from their offense and their defense.
A big thanks to the folks here at Santa Teresa High School. Of course, the head coach, Ajane Palmer, and for Westmont, the head coach, Mark Ka'anapu. We really appreciate the hospitality. And a big thanks to the City of San Jose Council member, District 2, Sergio Jimenez. Please take the opportunity to look at our hard-working crew. Always a pleasure and a privilege to bring you high school sports on CreaTV. On behalf of my partner, David Kiefer, I'm Kirsten Fairchild. So long from Santa Teresa High. The Saints win on homecoming night 40-19.